Alright, so, continuing the Don Bluth marathon of reviews, we have Rock-a-Doodle. So, let's start with my history with this movie. This was previewed on the VHS, I believe this one, actually. I believe there was a preview on this VHS from 50 Goes West. Alright? I believe. I don't have a VCR to check it out, but I believe. I remember it was on a preview for one of the movies. And I remember thinking this looks good. You know, telling my grandma, we gotta get this. And it was one of those things where she did the recording thing again. And yeah. So, yes, Rock-a-Doodle is one of my childhood favorites. I'm one of the few people in the world that actually loved this movie. And I was surprised when I grew up and started watching on the internet. Such negativity for this film. I grew up thinking this film was fantastic. And yet people, not so good reviews for this movie. That's going to change today. This is a positive review for Rock-a-Doodle. And actually, this film actually goes back further than you think. Actually, it goes back to the 1940s at Disney. As Walt Disney was looking to create a film based around the story of Chanticleer, a rooster who believed he could make the sun rise. And there was various times that they tried to make the movie, but eventually it was completely canned. Here comes Don Bluth, deciding to make his own version of the film back in the late 1980s, early 1990s. And, yeah, I think he did a pretty good job. So the story tells of Chanticleer, a rooster who, when he grows and sings a song, because it's a Don Bluth film, he can make the sun rise. But one night, before the sun is due to rise, the Grand Duke of Owls sends one of his goons to tussle with Chanticleer, causing him to miss the crowing, and the sun starts to come up without him. Which, in reality, is what would happen. Let's be honest, roosters don't make the sun come up. But in this film, yeah. And, so disgrace, Chanticleer leaves the farm. And then the sun goes back down, because apparently he did need to crow. Apparently, in the original story, Chanticleer was more stuck up about it, believing he could make the sun come up. Here, they made him more sympathetic by creating a villain, the Grand Duke of Owls, you know. And why do the Grand Duke of Owls not want him to make the sun come up? Because they're owls, and they want to. We are creatures of the night. Fiddly-dee, fiddly-dee. They are owls. They're nocturnal, so they want it to be completely dark. But, just a little thing here. Just cause the sun don't come out, don't mean it's still nighttime. Like overcast, like right now, where there's no sun. Not nighttime. Yeah, I don't know. But, yes. And the one thing that's always bugged me about this film, even as I grew up watching, when I was a kid, I didn't care. I love this movie. There are a couple things, but they're minor. The one thing that has always bugged me, though, even when I was a kid, is that Chanticleer misses the sunrise. It starts to come up without him. The animals get all mad. He's a phony! And Chanticleer starts to leave. However, the sun goes back down as Chanticleer is leaving. He hasn't completely left the farm. As the sun is going down, back down, this is when they should realize that they were right. Yet, they don't go after him, and he's like 50 feet away as he's walking away. But no, because we have to have a story. Now, Chanticleer is voiced by the late Glenn Campbell. I think he's dead. If he's not, then I'm sorry to Glenn Campbell, but I think he's dead. And of course, because Glenn Campbell was a musician, he sings a few songs. Some good songs, actually. The opening song, Sun to Shine, is probably my favorite, followed by Treasure Hunting Fever. It's got an Elvis vibe to it. And then there's, let's see, what's the, Rock-a-Doodle. It's the name of the song. I got itch. Hold on. This itch. And you can't itch it through the pants. Hate that. Sorry. You gotta itch. You try to itch through your pants. You can't. So, it's just my leg. Yeah. So then we have the real story. A real main character. Edmund, played by some little boy who never really did anything else. He lives on a farm with his parents, his mom, or his dad, his two older brothers, and his mom, who has her voice dubbed over by Dee Wallace. And as a kid, I didn't realize this until I was older. I'm like, wait a minute. That voice. It's Dee Wallace. It's Dee Wallace's voice dubbed over this woman's performance. You know, E.T. Dee Wallace. It's her voice. It's her voice, but it's not her performance. I don't know why they did that. But, yeah. And there's this storm. Apparently, like, since Chanticleer has been gone, it's been nothing but rain and storm and stuff like that. But yet, the beginning story about Chanticleer was being read to Edmund by his mother. And you think that maybe they draw some parallels to their situation. Like, the rooster doesn't crow. We even had nothing but rain. How long ago was the Chanticleer thing? And how long have they had just rain and no sun? Did the rainstorm start as soon as she read the story? Did she bring it to life? The ending is conflicting. The ending of this film is conflicting. And it's probably one of the things that I don't like about this film that kind of brings it down for me. I love this film, don't get me wrong, but yeah. So, during this storm, Edmund's brothers go out to help his father because they got like livestock and stuff, so they got to build the barrier. And during this, Edmund shouts for Chanticleer, which the Grand Duke of Owls hears. And this is where we get the transition to animation. It's really cool too. Like, this tree branch comes in, and the Grand Duke of Owls starts stepping in, and this when the tree branch goes in, there's this weird little magic thing, and the live action set starts turning into animation. And yes, you know, you see Edmund standing there as a normal looking human being, and you can tell it's, especially at the end of this film when they do it again, it's not so good. But then you have the Grand Duke of Owls show up. He turns Edmund into a cartoon cat, because he has to be a cartoon for this to work. However, he is rescued by Patu, voiced by Phil Harris. You may know him from playing Little John in Robin Hood, and Baloo in The Jungle Book. And his thing is, he doesn't know how to tie his shoes. I'm serious, that's his whole thing. Is that I wish I knew how to tie my shoes. That's over, under, around, and through. I remember that. Even before I watched this again, I still remember it. Over, under, around, and I don't know how to do it, but yeah. And then, so they scare off the Grand Duke, and his plot is to come back to them eventually. So Edmund takes a group. It's him. It's Patu. It's the bird, voiced by Eddie Deason. It's the mouse with the glasses. And they go on the journey to the city to find Chanticleer. They are chased by the Grand Duke's nephew, voiced by Charles Nelson Riley. He is one of the best things in this film. He is... He is fantastic. Charles Nelson Riley nails it in this film. More so than Killer in All Dogs Go to Heaven. He is fantastic in this film. Just the way he things. So, when they get there, it takes a while for them to find Chanticleer, and then they find him, and he's the king. His hair is black, like Elvis. He wears the little suit like Elvis. He's essentially the rooster version of Elvis. He's being managed by a fox named Pinky, voiced by Sorrel Book, which you will know from The Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, Roscoe. Name Duke, boys. I can't do the voice, but yes. And so Pinky, I think he's Pinky. There's this female chicken fowl thing who is supposed to seduce him. It's a kid's movie, but she falls in love with him, of course. And then when Edmund and them show up, they try to throw Chanticleer a note, but the girl, is her name Pinky? I don't know. I can't remember her name. Gets a hold of it, and she doesn't give it to him because at that point she's still evil or whatever. But she has a change of heart. But as it turns out, Pinky, or the fox guy, whatever, is working for the Grand Duke of Owls to keep Chanticleer away from the farm. Eventually, after Pinky locks up the team in his trailer, she confesses to Chanticleer, which leads to one of the most ridiculous scenes in this movie. So, he's on the set filming a movie or his video or something, and he got one of those motorcycles that aren't really going, and it's got that thing moving behind you so it shows a background, one of those things. He somehow makes it work like a regular motorcycle, despite the fact that it wouldn't work that way. It's set up differently to make the motorcycle, but he set it off, and he ends up conking him. He ends up flying in just as the squeaks, whatever, the bird conks down, trying to, because they are chased by the nephew. As he's about to try to kill them, apparently. But as they go to whack the nephew, Chanticleer bumps in, crashes in, and he hits him in the head. And that's another thing, is that Chanticleer is unconscious for this part of the film as they make their way back to the farm, which is now just a little island thing because everything's flooded apparently. And Chanticleer needs to crow, but he can't crow because he had lost his confidence. The Grand Duke shows up and grows really big, and then you have this weird little illusion of sorts that's really freaky. Edmund gets knocked unconscious. Some people say he died, but he's knocked unconscious. And Chanticleer gets the courage to crow again. Chanticleer, you gotta crow when you gotta crow now. And he does. Y'all go do whoo! Sends the sun up. The Duke shrinks down. And then you get one of the funnier scenes in this film where the Duke, now about this small, his nephew is not that but this compared to him. And he's like, "It's me, Uncle Dookie." Uncle Dookie. Because now he's bigger than him. He can go after him, and he chases him around. and yeah. And then Edmund turns back into a human, and he wakes up. And this is presented as if it was all a dream, which would make sense. He fell asleep because he was tucked into bed before his mom left. And after that's when it all happened. So it's said as if it was a dream. And then the sun came back up. So it works. But then it wasn't a dream. Because now Edmund is outside with them on the animated farm. And he's singing the Sun Do Shine song from the beginning. And the female chicken is there now. And, you know, as a kid, I think if it was just a dream, I think it would have upset me. But as an adult watching this, I think I would understand. You know, if it's a dream, okay, that makes sense. But then when you say, oh, it's just a dream, and then say, no, it was real, it's kind of like, which is it? Real or a dream? Real dream, real dream. I don't get it. But I will say that I still love this film. To this day, it is fantastic. I should mention that the Grand Duke of Owls was voiced by Christopher Plummer. Yes, Christopher Plummer, who was also in the Henri in American Tail. So, yes, and I think he's better as the Grand Duke, but I do love Henri. And if I do have criticisms about the cast, it's just I never understood why they had to overdub Dee Wallace. And maybe the actor who plays Edmund, maybe they could have tried to cast that a little bit better. He's a little suckish. I'm not a cat, I'm a boy. My name is Edmund. He sounds like he's drunk. We're gonna save Chanticleer. Just, you know. Over, under, around, and through. He sounds like he's drunk. I don't know. Maybe this sounds like me, I don't know. But, yeah. Otherwise, fantastic film. Animation, of course, is done Bluth. It's pretty good. And overall, decent film. I give it a 9 out of 10. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. I enjoy it immensely. And I recommend to you to show your kiddies because it is a fantastic children's film. So what are your thoughts on Rock-a-Doodle? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and sun do shine, sun do shine, sun do shine, sun do shine. Well, my daddy told me how to sing, and that's why this force means everything. Sun do shine, you better shine, you better shine. Well, the sun do shine, you better 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 shine. Sun, you better shine. Digga 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 dow dow.